Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators in the house, and we're going to continue and try to get a few more people in here that we have time for on the Zoom to join us with questions for the guys, and we have one more performance before we wrap it up for this special. We're going to go to New York right now, Long Island to be exact, and welcome in Brian. Hey, Brian, welcome.
Questions actually for all you guys, but has the chemistry among the members of the band after the first album and tour help in bringing the next 3 albums along at a faster pace and more creative ideas?
Yeah, I'd say that has a lot to do with it.
All right, then.
Nobody else wants to contribute to that. Just leave me hanging here.
The answer is yes. All right, see ya. No, I think considering, like he said, the formula of we go to sound check, and you anticipate playing a couple songs that we're going to play in the set, and then Slash is just playing something new, and then we all just put something over it for the most part, and then it's like that just sticks. Go to the next sound check the next day, and now you just build on it, and that whole flow is just, it's easy, you know? I feel like that, like you said, it did speed up the process over the years. Consider it. Like now, this newest album, I feel like has definitely flown by, you know?
I think we definitely established a sound by Apocalyptic. You know, I think that it's interesting from an objective point of view, I can't be objective about SMKC, but listening to Myles in all these different configurations of Myles, when Myles sings in this band, he does something totally different than he does in Alter Bridge or anything else. And then when Myles and I sing together on a lot of the stuff, so a lot of the sounds with Slash's riffs, Myles' voice, the harmonies, and then the way we play together, that established that sound, so that I think that that sort of like newlywed kind of period just sort of grew to the next 3 albums beyond that. But I think now it's pretty comfortable.
You know, a big part of the sound that you just touched on is the harmonies, which
it is.
Thank God you guys are a real live rock band with no nonsense and computers.
That's what you think. Just
and
kidding.
Bullshit and tracks. You play rock the way it's supposed to be done, and that harmony that you've developed, that singing between Myles and Todd, that's fantastic. Did that come immediately, the meshing of your voices and working that stuff out, or how's that evolved as we've gone?
I was thinking about this because we've had to listen through to the music, because as we were getting ready to do the new record, I was like listening to Apocalyptic, and that is such a trip, because that's literally 10 years ago now. So I think it was such new days. Remember we all went in and we did 3 songs initially, and I think you and I were singing like, okay, well, let's say we sang some harmonies together and a kind of sort of thing, and I think eventually we just sort of like, Myles's workload is such that, you know, in the later records, it would be sort of like he would sing his lead vocals and then he'd have 800 other things he had to do. I got to go on a Alter Bridge tour or something. So he would just be like, now you do all that stuff. And then I'd be stuck in a studio going, what? And then I would sing all the harmonies and we would kind of go from there. But it's sort of, you know, initially playing with the guys and having harmonies that existed on Guns N' Roses songs, Velvet Revolver songs, all the stuff that we were playing. I just sort of picked them up. And Myles and I, you know, I was always respectful of, I don't want to step on you here. What do I do? And it just became complimentary, you know, and we just sort of built from there.
Yeah, one of the things when Todd, when we first met, I mean, he fucking great bass player, right? But then he was sort of like the secret weapon vocally, because I had no idea that was coming. And then he started singing. I was like, Jesus Christ. But these guys start singing together, and it's become a unique sound unto itself, that, you know, as far as the band is concerned.
Yeah, well, it's a great thing to have, you know, that, you know, great voices like that. And I mean, the interesting thing for you, Todd, you know, Slash saying you're a great bass player, but your thing is guitar as well, right? I mean,
well, I mean, I also play guitar, but then again, you know, Frank also plays drums, and you know, it's like we all kind of play a bunch of different things.
Brent plays keyboards.
It's playing piano and keyboards. Yeah. It's you know, I think it's the ability. People always say, "Are you a bass player, or a singer, or a guitar player?" Well, I'm kind of a musician, so I just love to play. So
right.
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome in Sherry, who is in Northport, Florida. Sherry is joining us next. What's that?
Is it a girl?
Sherry?
Breaking up this sausage party.
Yeah, exactly. Sausage hang here. Hey, Sherry.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. This is for all of you, including the whippersnapper at the end.
I'm this many.
So for all of you, was recording the album live without redos liberating for you or more daunting as an artist?
For me, it was totally liberating. It was something that I've been wanting to do really my whole career, as crazy as that sounds, just to go in and do a record where you just play the song and that take is it. And I haven't done it before because I would have to do it with headphones, and I hate headphones. It's so funny because now I use in-ears, but I hate the sound of headphones, so I would always go and redo my guitars later just so I could hear them through the monitors and get a real sound. So, but I always ask producers, like, why can't we just set up live in the room and just play like that, and that way I can get my real guitar sound through my ears the way that I hear them, you know, when I'm playing a gig or whatever. So no, we can't do that. Too much bleed, too much this, too much that. And I just, you know, so this was really fun and very liberating for me.
You know, one of the things that's interesting about saying you haven't done that before is so many people talk about the fact that one of the things they love so much about Appetite is that it's so live feeling and sounding and raw.
Every record we've ever done, this band or Velvet Revolver or Guns N' Roses, we've always played live in the studio as a band to put the take down and then go back and do the guitars afterwards. But to get that energy, that was always, you have to do that, you know.
Let's get another Zoomer in. This is Jorge, who is in Austin, Texas.
Thanks, Eddie. First of all, to the band, congrats on being the first band to release an album under Gibson Records. I think that's pretty badass.
Awesome, thanks.
And my question is, if there were what were some the major differences or different approaches that you guys encountered with working with a new producer for this new album? I looked at his credits and they're amazing, but I also noticed that he's mostly worked with a lot of country and Americana artists, not a lot of hard hitting rock like you guys. And I was just wondering if that makes any kind of difference in the studio or not.
Well, he actually has done some rock stuff, and we mentioned earlier he did the Rival Sons, which is a pretty hard rocking band, and that was sort of the clincher for me, because the country stuff is the way that he does it is really refreshing, because a lot of country artists just don't sound like that. But he had, on top of that, he did have the Rival Sons, and that sort of put it together for me, you know. So he's actually, if you talk to him, he's a rock and roll producer who had a hit doing country, and now he's in demand in country music. So
yeah, we mentioned earlier there's a really good record that kind of flew under the radar called California Breed that he did. That's right. And he also did records for the band Europe, for the Final Countdown band. Europe made a really good record with them about 8-10 years ago. So there is rock stuff for sure on his resume, even though a lot of it is obviously the country stuff also. Let's bring in Mike Cunningham. We don't have where Mike is from. Mike from Parts Unknown is going to be joining us on the Zoom screen here in a second. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, silly question for Slash. In the 80s, both top hats and Gibsons were not popular. How does it feel to make them both iconic?
That's funny. Yeah, the Gibson thing, you know, all things considered, I'd never really thought about it, but people have said that when because I was playing a Les Paul during the whole Guns N' Roses heyday, that brought the Les Paul back. So I that's a huge compliment. It's very humbling to hear that. As far as the top hat is concerned, I think it's still not popular.
Where is the very original top hat? The very, very first one?
Oh, it got stolen at the Cat House.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah, the first one I ever had got stolen at the Cat House. I was drunk, passed out. I woke up and it was gone.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. So do you have a collection of them? Is there a bunch of them, or you lean on one?
No, I mean I have two that I really wear. You know, I have a couple other ones that are just junk hats that just somehow have never gotten thrown out or whatever, and they just keep moving from place to place. They're in the closet, so there's 3 or 4 of those.
So the top hat have its own case and its own road guide?
I do have a hat box for...
Do you have a road handler for the hat?
No, just one hat box, and I just put the hat in there, and I also put all my other shit in there too.
Is that right? All right, let's get Jeff Thompson. Again, we don't have a city on Jeff. Do we have Jeff?
Eddie, no Jeff. Anthony Lombardo.
Wait, who's that?
Oh, that's not Jeff. Well, we're going instead to Anthony, who's in Patchogue, New York, also Long Island. What's going on, Ant?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We got you, buddy.
Hey. So first of all, Call Off the Dogs is a great tune. I'm in the studio right now rehearsing with my band. I'm in a Black Crowes tribute band.
Cool.
And we're rehearsing out here. And
do you have a brother that's in it with you that you fight with all the time, or no?
It's very legit.
They're actually that's a whole nother conversation that we can have. There's some truth to that. Anyway, so Call Off the Dogs is a great old school bare bones hard rock tune. I want to thank you guys for doing this. And I wanted to ask you, what do you feel is the state of hard rock right now? There's a lot of great bands out there. Obviously, you got Mammoth is out there. You got Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. You got Dirty Honey. There's some really great bands. So do you see the tide turning? I mean, I'm hoping that
It's
going to
definitely
make a good comeback,
it's definitely happening, and those are bands that are pretty high profile, but there is a whole sort of undercurrent of young kids who are out there doing it. That it's just like it's a really vibrant scene that's under the radar of bands that are doing it raw, old school sound. These are all kids, people that are like 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's a big thing going on with that. I'm hip to it because I got kids and I know what's sort of happening, sort of not in the mainstream. So it seems like there's definitely the tides are going to turn.
I think you, if I'm not mistaken, you have a band going out with you, or you had, who I recently had on my show, made up of all girls under 21, a band called Plush.
Yeah, they're coming out with us.
So they're coming out. They're one of the bands coming out with you. And that's an amazing story because they're all, I've known Mariah for a little while, but they're all young, really young girls, and they bring it. They're really
rock,
good.
Man. That's
they
why
really
we picked
rock.
them, yeah.
They opened for Mammoth a couple of dates too.
So you've had them out too. I think, I've always been very optimistic. I think people talk about all this nonsense rock is dead. I mean, that's horseshit.
They've been talking about
It's
it since the 70s.
Yeah, it's just horseshit. But I do think that I feel super encouraged about where we're at with what's bubbling under having older bands like you guys making great new music. I think there's a lot of bands even older than you. That, like the last Cheap Trick record was great. I mean,
it really was.
you got older bands that are still making great new music, and then you've got this groundswell of young bands. It's
Groundswell was the word I was searching for. That's exactly what's happening.
Your kids were playing. One of your sons was playing, right?
My oldest son, London, has got a band called Saint Electric, and they just played the Whiskey the other day. But they're one of those new young rock and roll bands. But he hips me to everything that's happening. Yeah, I would never know about listening to the radio or, just listening to mainstream outlets. There's this whole sort of YouTube and SoundCloud sort of generation going on. It's like a whole culture.
Do you think it's easier or harder now for bands to get traction and breakthrough than when you started?
Well, the biggest thing is the industry itself sucks. So the opportunity for new music, even if it's not rock and roll, even if it's pop music or whatever, because you have to get through this barrier that the record companies have all put up to be commercially successful, which means there's got to be something to it that's going to guarantee that they're going to be able to sell 1 trillion records. And it's very limiting. There's no A&R, there's no development, there's no any of the stuff that used to be around in the 80s and going backwards, where you really could find a talent and nurture it, develop it, and make some fantastic records with somebody that you might not have even known was capable after they've been around for a couple of years. So all that's like gone. So you can have, obviously there's just as much talent out there now as there was then, but the accessibility has changed. And you might be able to go out there and sell some records amongst your friends, but the record companies aren't going to recognize it as being something that's viable. And that's what makes this business so fucked.
I think the biggest thing from where I see, and you guys can chime in on this as well, because you've all been in different bands and everybody does different stuff here. But the biggest thing I see is the oversaturation in that the gates are down. The labels used to be a gatekeeper. It used to be if somebody handed you a CD, you knew that you reached a certain point to even be able to produce this. Right. Now anyone can literally make music. Anyone can do anything. And as a result, there's a lot of good stuff, but let's be honest, there's a lot of awful stuff. And the pipeline, at least from where I sit talking to fans, the pipeline is so oversaturated. They have so much stuff coming at them. Click on YouTube, here, that it's kind of hard to decipher what's worth your time or not, because literally anybody can put out music now. Back in the day, you used to have to go spend a ton of money, go to a big studio. Now people make records in their bedrooms. It's just way easier. So it's a whole different world. But I see that as an
like the
obstacle.
Wild West.
It is. It totally is. I think Slash just said it the best, though, and more succinctly, the industry sucks.
Yeah.
All right, let's open this thing. Let's show everybody this new record. Who, Myles? Why don't you do the unboxing? Why don't you? Somebody. Yeah, I got to hold the mic.
Require some kind of a knife or
Yeah,
something.
no.
Oh, look at this. Do you like the double platinum nod?
Yes,
Yeah, the all
there you
silver.
go. You should have embossed pictures of all of you on the back.
There you go.
We're putting
I figured you might appreciate that.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
The double platinum influence. Does someone want to do the CD as well, so we can show 2 configurations?
All right.
All right. So what do we got, Miles? Is that gatefold or
I
no?
got the golden ticket. No.
Willy Wonka.
Got a golden ticket.
It's not gatefold. It looks like a
No, it's an
gatefold.
O card.
Oh, okay.
An O card. Do you know what an O card
No,
is?
the sleeve.
It's the sleeve around the sleeve.
Right.
I didn't know what that was.
That's like the abi in the Japanese thing, and it's the band around it, right? The band. So.
Okay.
Is this the first time you're seeing this, by the way? Because a lot of times artists are like, I've never seen it before.
I've never seen it.
Oh, Miles is seeing his record for the first time.
Yeah. And here's the,
Todd, work the mic on him a little bit, please.
So that's the actual album cover.
yeah.
So this is the outside, and then this is the actual album
Oh,
cover.
well, look at this.
Whoa!
Oh, you get a
you got a
guitar
guitar pick.
What?
I get it. That's for.
Oh, that's mine. Wait.
Miles is going to eBay right now.
Yeah, it's on eBay tomorrow.
I was at the factory. I must have dropped it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have this fine. Yeah, there we
Now wait, is that an order form for merch, a la Kiss?
That
No,
would
it's
be good,
lyrics
right?
and
Oh, the lyrics. Okay. All right.
lyrics
you've
and,
got your-
then the liner notes.
Inset sleeve, beautiful. And,
And
then
the-
there's the vinyl.
This is the black vinyl. There's
Yeah.
multiple colors.
Yeah, there's a red version of this
You-
and a blue version and a purple version of the actual album cover inside the silver O card.
Full Vanna White. I
And
love it.
the actual album matches the color of the album cover.
All right, that's awesome. Looks great.
And there's a box set for the vinyl that you get an actual Les Paul with.
For real?
Yeah.
An
So if
actual
you buy the
full-on
box set,
guitar?
yeah, you get the guitar. Which it's just a really nice Les Paul standard.
It's one of your custom jobs?
Yeah,
or-
red one.
You're like the global ambassador of Gibson
That's what
or
they
something,
call
right?
it. Yeah.
What do those duties entail, Slash?
I'm
You gotta
just you know,
shine
it's-
Cesar's
it's-
car?
It's actually I've been pretty involved, hands-on with Gibson especially since Cesar has come and taken over. He's really sort
Awesome,
of opened
yeah.
up the floor for me. But the global ambassador thing came even before Cesar came into it, and it was just a label since I am involved to sort of give me some sort of an official title, so that when I show up for things, it's just some guitar player showing up. They actually say, "Oh, he's actually something."
Because I'm sure everybody, when you walk in, is like, oh, that's just some guitar player
Well, you
showing
know,
up.
Anyway, so that's that, and then I'm not sure which color this one is.
So there's color CDs as well?
See, that's the purple one.
Oh, the sleeve. Okay.
Yeah,
So
the
there you
sleeves come in different colors, but the vinyl comes in all different colors. So
go. This is my preferred format, as my listeners know. This is awesome.
Well, I do both, but I'm still a CD guy because that's what I play in my car. Although I bought a truck recently and it didn't have a CD player in it.
I
called them
hear
up
they're
and said-
removing them.
They said we don't make
Sacrilege.
them.
that's the thing. of the past.
Sacrilege. That's so sad to hear.
So where's the single loader? you know?
Luckily, in my Hyundai Pony, they still have a cassette deck, so that worked out well.
So this is the CD.
Yeah, and there's a box set for
hear
that
that,
as well, which
Yeah, I
is
heard
really
that.
cool. It's got like a
let's see.
poster in it and other assorted goodies. Oh, and there's a cassette of us playing some songs live.
You lost another guitar pick.
Yeah, I
another
know. I
guitar
dropped a
pick.
whole bag of them at the thing.
So this is awesome. Like, so you guys can see, no matter if you prefer the vinyl or the CD, you've got a great. I'd say
Or cassette.
And there's a cassette that comes in a cassette, and if I remember correctly, that's what comes with the boombox.
it comes with the
I think
boombox.
it's a package.
All right. So you got a lot of
You
different.
need something to play it on, right?
It's true. You got a lot of different ways to get the record. I'm holding out for the 8-track mini disc, something like that.
You know what? I
Open
was
reel.
never a fan of the 8-track, even when it was current.
Remember when they would dip down in the middle of the song
Oh
and
man,
click
they were
and go
such
up?
a pain in the ass. Those things.
Oh man.
Sometimes
Great.
you remember songs with the dip to the next track.
Exactly
yeah.
right. Click, click, and then go over again. All right, so let's get to the last song. And this song, before I let you guys go and play it and we wrap up, the minute I heard the song, it was one of my instant favorites on the record. It's called Fill My World. And I got to tell you, to me, this song was almost screamed like Sweet Child of Mine Part 2 in its that guitar melody part that's
Cyclical
such
riff
signature.
kind of
yes,
thing,
yes.
which I didn't even think of until people started telling me that, and I was like, I guess it's just because there's a certain amount of rotation notes or something that it makes it.
But Sweet
it's so
Child,
different.
you've said famously over the years, Sweet Child was actually a guitar exercise.
It wasn't an exercise, but it was a riff that I made up that I was like, oh, this is interesting. You know?
And so it was kind of like,
But it's just me playing, yeah.
right, it wasn't intended as a song. It
No,
was just
not-
you
not
doing a
initially,
thing.
right.
So what about this riff for
This
Fill My
was
World?
actually something that came up during the pandemic, which was sort of an answer to the frustration of all the. I don't know. I think it was to offset the mood of all the misery that was happening at the time, because I had so many friends and colleagues who were suffering from not being able to work, and they were losing family members, and there was all that. So it was almost like a very personal piece of music that I just wrote sitting around, and I recorded it. And I didn't intend to send it to these guys, but the riff stuck in my head. So like 3 days later, I sent it to Myles, because he has a way of finding something that I'll do that I don't necessarily think that much of, and make a huge melody out of it, and which is exactly what he did. So then that's what turned it into a real song.
And Myles, lyrically, there's a story to this as well, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I was inspired by my dog Mozart. It's kind of written from his perspective. Long story short, he was at home, and a storm came. We couldn't get home, and we were watching him on the little video cameras, and he's terrified of storms, and he was just freaking out, and it was heartbreaking. So, yeah, the song is really kind of the narrative that I imagine might be going through his head as this was all happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocal on it is just, needless to say, amazing. All the playing, it's just killer. And I firmly believe, like the minute I heard this song, I reached out to your people. I was like, that song that could cross over, that could be huge. But if you think about it, like throughout your career, going back to Sweet Child of Mine there's always been almost on every record that song that's built on a like I think of Anastasia. Anastasia is a song that's actually become a really big song, I think, for you guys from this band, which is also built around a similar sort of guitar deal, right?
Yeah. Well said. I mean, I guess there is a style there that I hadn't actually stopped to recognize, but because we were playing another song that was on the Apocalyptic Love record, and it's in the set now, and it also has this sort of kind of single note melodic thing, and I guess that's just something that's innately interesting to me, you know.
And it might come back to our mutual love of UFO, because Michael Schenker did that a lot too.
Yeah.
When I think about it. Yeah. So there's that sort of melody. I never picked up on that until you tried to steal my Strangers in the Night one time, a long time ago.
Talking about that?
Oh yeah. I never picked up on the Schenker vibe of the melodies in your playing until then.
I mean, you know, all things considered, there was a period there where I was really into Michael. And I think it was like before Guns started, it was like probably 83 or 84 or something like that. So I'm sure that had some influence.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, check out the record. Again, it's phenomenal album. See the guys on tour. Check your local listings. See if there's a date coming to you. Hopefully you'll be able to do maybe another run of touring for this record, you think, at some point?
Well,
Will there be a
next
window?
year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody will do Guns. I guess, Myles, you'll go back, do some Alter Bridge stuff coming up.
I have a solo tour in Europe in June too. So
All right.
It's all.
And
We're going to be busy.
And Todd and Brent will continue to wave the Canadian flag with Duke and play obscure 80s Kiss songs and all the other good stuff that they do. And Frank, you're going to be multitasking with, both bands going back and forth and doing your thing, right?
Yeah. Summertime.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, it's great to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Eddie.
Congrats on the record.
Thanks,
It's
Eddie.
absolutely awesome. And this is the song we talked about, a phenomenal song to close out the show from the new album. This is called Fill My World. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.